craving to know and learn more. Real life and real people who inhabit it are uneven and unpredictable. And if such real experiences have to be penned down as fiction, it is a task, whether one remains faithful to the facts or the imagination. Fiction is most of the times a response to reality, and turning real into fiction is not an easy task, I feel. Penguin Random House copy editor Kathleen Go had said, in non-fiction writing, you're revealing a world. In fiction, you're constructing one. With these thoughts in my mind, though I don't have much knowledge in it, I would request our moderator, Ms. Annie Morgan, ma'am, to continue the session. And I won't be doing the introductions because ma'am insisted on introducing her panelists. So the floor is open for you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to be here and to see such an amazing audience. I'm Anne Morgan. I'm an author from the UK. I write fiction these days, but my first book is a non-fiction book called Reading the World, and it came out of a project that I did to read a book from every country in the world. And so it's my great pleasure today to be moderating a session with this fantastic international panel of authors, both from India and from other countries as well. And so I will introduce them to you. Next to me, on my right, I have Jānis Jovērs, who is from Latvia. His novel Doom 94 won the EU Prize for Literature and was a bestseller and translated into many languages. He says it's teenage stuff for adults, and it is set in 90s Latvia and draws a lot on the music of the time and on loneliness and on melancholy and various other things. Next to him is Gabija Grušeita. Yes, next to him is Gabija Grušeita from Lithuania. Her novel Cold East has been likened, the writing has been likened to Bret Easton Ellis. And it has very much, I can say, that same edge of clear-sightedness and savagery, I think. It's a very wide-ranging novel. It takes in all kinds of different locations, draws on a lot on the Soviet legacy, but also the Southeast Asia and America, and some UK stuff as well. And I was really struck reading it by the accuracy, particularly of the UK bits. So I'm fascinated to learn how she researched that. And she's also a curator, so she's a rare character because she has both a literary and a visual eye. So I'm very interested to hear how that feeds into her work. And then we have Shehan Karuna, I was going to get this right, Shehan Karunatilaka. He is a Sri Lankan novelist, and his book, Chinaman, is an extraordinary, really funny and engaging book. It was a real hit both here and in the UK, and won numerous awards. And it tells the story of an alcoholic journalist trying to write the biography of the greatest Sri Lankan cricketer you've never heard of. And Shehan has said in the past that the research for this book involved spending lots of time with drunk old men talking about cricket. So I'm very interested to hear more of that. Next to Shehan we have Arab Datta. He's a local writer, and also there has been called India's Enid Blyton. Incredibly renowned for his work writing novels for young people, but also for adults. And so he can tell us about how it might differ to research books for young people as opposed to books for adults, which I think is a fascinating question in itself. And next to him is Jayanta Vora. He is a local writer, and his first novel, Moria Holla, won the, let's get this right, Sahitya Academy Award. And he tells me that he spent 25 years researching it. It explores politics and the changes in this region, an area of vast change and political upheaval. And so that will be fascinating to hear as well. And the empty chair is for Rita Chowdhury, who we are hoping will appear at any moment. Rita is also a writer from Assam, and her novel Chinatown Days flashes between the present day, Hong Kong, and also the historical 19th century past in this region, looking at how the discovery of tea in this region changed dynamics both in international and personal relationships, and the terrible consequences for the Chinese community who found themselves here. And it's a fascinating, incredibly deftly researched book, so I hope that she will come and share some of her insights from that. So that's our panel, everybody. Right. So, to get started, I thought an interesting opening question might be to hear what role research plays in the writing process for each of our panelists. Do you research before you write, or do you research once you have a story? How does it work? And does the research inform your story? Does it change the story, or does the story lead? Dennis, would you like to go first?
Well, I do lots of research, but I think this could be because I'm lazy. It's some kind of form of procrastination, a good reason not to start the actual writing. So I just keep sitting and doing research. But it could help. There was this episode in Detective Stories by Georges Simenon, where the Commissar Maigret is the main hero. So there's once a young detective wanted to see the method of Maigret, the method of investigation, and he assisted Maigret, and he could never see the real investigation. Maigret just kept posing questions and listening to answers, and then he asked Maigret, but when we will start to investigate, when the thinking, the real work starts? And Maigret said, if you pose the right questions and get the right answers, there's no need to think, everything's clear. So sometimes I try to keep to this method, but yeah, I'm not sure about it.
Hello everyone, I hope you can hear me. I will try speaking now. Alright, I always have to stay with microphones, they're not my best friends, but if you can't hear me, please wait. Research plays a really big part of my work because I'm this unfulfilled anthropologist. When I was back in university, anthropology was my big passion, and one of them I studied anthropology in London. But then I realized academia is not for me. I can't follow strict guidelines, and the process of writing thesis, it really wears me out. But I try to use the same methods and inspiration to how I research my fiction. And mainly my subject of research is contemporary society, and I feel that anthropology is a very interesting way to look on how you research what is here and now, because there's really no written sources, and there's no gap of time where you can look back and reflect. So I constantly struggle, and most of my research comes from online or just listening, like eavesdropping on people's conversations and things like that.
Yeah, for me, research is essential, it's crucial. I don't know if it actually is essential, but I think it's essential, so therefore it becomes essential. Like it is what, as you say, it's the first procrastination that you do. I wish we could, as writers, escape procrastination, but now I think we've all accepted its part, it's one of the job hazards. And I think it's just a matter of managing the necessary procrastination and the unnecessary, and research can be both. And what I do is, like, when I'm starting to write anything, I do the usual knocking on the door, telling people not to disturb me, and I fiddle with my, with the lights. I've got this flashy Philips Hue system, so I can light the room properly, so that wastes about 15 minutes. I have my liquids, so there has to be water and tea, coffee, maybe something strong if I'm feeling particular despair that day, but it's all there. Set the music, everything. But then when I sit down and you're staring at a blank page, I'd like to say that then I write 2,000 words and I go to lunch, but that has happened maybe twice in the last 10 years. Usually what happens is you stay at the page and you freak out. And the freak out can be 10 minutes, it can be 2 hours, it can be a week. It doesn't really matter. Usually when you freak out for 10 minutes or 10 days, it's the same result. And the freak out is usually that I don't know what to put on this page. I really don't know. I thought this was a good idea, maybe it's not such a good idea. I really don't know what I'm talking about. What business do I have writing this, and so on. And research is the thing that gets you out of that trap, really. So whether I write TV commercials for a living, I write short stories, novels, and whether I'm researching a commercial for bike oil or a short story set in the 19th century, it's the same freak out. I don't know enough about bikes. I don't know what Sri Lanka looked like in 1870. And so therefore, the first few days, I just fill that page with things that I don't know. And that's a low-pressure job. You just fill it with things you don't know, and then you spend the next, whatever time you need, week or day or month, filling that knowledge. So yeah, you put books on the table, you open web browsers, but the aim is just to fill 5 pages. I have these A3 pages. I just fill them with as much stuff. Most of it is irrelevant. But then I feel that I have permission to write. Then the blank page. So then when I sit down to write, it's I've got these 5 pages. I'm sure there's something interesting on it. And usually what happens is you may use 3 facts from those 5 pages that you wasted 2 weeks doing. But it just kind of cons your mind into believing, I have to put something on this page. The lights are fine, the music is fine, the water is fine, and I know enough. And so it is a procrastination, but I think if you don't do it, you end up doubting yourself, and these voices in the head are the worst things. So yeah, for me it's the essential first procrastination.
I think it is which came first, the egg or the chicken situation here. I am absolutely for the egg, which is the concept, because unless you have the concept before you, there is no need to go into research. Firstly, you need to have some kind of a seed for what you are going to write about before you undertake research. And you see, it depends upon what kind of format you are going to use. For me, I write in 3 basic formats. One is fiction for adults, the other is non-fiction for adults, commissioned non-fiction, and the third is juvenile adventure stories. And you discover that each of the subjects needs a different kind of parameters of research. For instance, fiction requires slightly less, and the sources, they don't need to be primary. I don't know if the other panelists agree with me, but the basic thing of fiction is that you can use secondary sources. But commissioned non-fiction, which takes a huge deal of time, if you have to go to primary sources. And finally, some people might think, oh, writing for young people, you don't need to do any kind of research on that. But I'll tell you frankly, writing for young people, I write juvenile novels, I think it demands far more research than perhaps that of adults. So for me, the egg comes first, the concept, and then the research.
Actually, one of the biggest questions that every author has is how can I effectively research for my novel or short story. Basically, I do research beginning to start my novel, and it's helped me to characterize the subject of the novel or short story, and it will help to draw my outline of the story. So I do research basically first, and then I draw the outline of the story or characterize of the subject. Can I explain a small story? ইয়াতে বহুত ইয়ং নতুন কলেজৰ ল'ৰা ছোৱালীখিনি আহিছে, মই ভাবোঁ যে এই ছেশ্যনটো ফ্ৰুটফুল হ'বৰ কাৰণে আমি কিছু কথা জনা দৰকাৰ যে এটা ফিকশ্যন শ্বৰ্ট ষ্টৰী বা নভেল লিখিবলৈ যাওঁতে why it necessary, কিয় এটা ৰিচাৰ্চ দৰকাৰ হয়। মই এইটো কোৱা নাই যে এটা হিষ্ট্ৰিকেল নভেল বা হিষ্ট্ৰিকেল বেকগ্ৰাউণ্ডৰ কিবা ষ্টৰী লিখিবৰ কাৰণেই ৰিচাৰ্চ কৰিব লাগে, এইটো নহয়। কিন্তু কথাটো হ'ল কি যে এভৰি ছ'চিয়েল নভেল লিখিবলৈ যাওঁতেও ডেফিনেটলি তাত কিছু ৰিচাৰ্চৰ বেচিকেলি এটা ফাৰ্ষ্ট টাইম দৰকাৰ হয়। কি ৰিচাৰ্চ কৰা যায়, তাৰ কাৰণে কি সুবিধা হয় যে সেই নভেলখন বা সেই ষ্টৰীটো যেতিয়া আমি আগবাঢ়ি লৈ যাম, it will help to draw the outline and it will help to characterize the subject of the fiction. সেইকাৰণে দৰকাৰ হয়। বহুতে বহুত ধৰণৰ আৰ্গুমেণ্ট কৰি আছে, ছাৰেও কৈছে যে বেচিকেলি কিছুমানৰ ক্ষেত্ৰত আমাক ইমাজিনেশ্যনটো বেছি দৰকাৰ। বহুতে হয়তো ভাবে যে এখন নভেল লিখিবলৈ যাওঁতে ইমাজিনেশ্যনটো দৰকাৰ, why necessary field work। কিন্তু কেতিয়াবা এনেকুৱা দৰকাৰ হয় ছ'চিয়েল এলিমেণ্টছ কিছুমানক ফ্ৰুটফুলি এক্সপ'জ কৰিবৰ কাৰণে এটা চাইণ্টিফিকেলি এটা আউটলাইন দৰকাৰ হয়, তাৰ কাৰণে এটা ৰিচাৰ্চ ৱৰ্ক লাগে। থেংক ইউ।
Thank you. I'm sure that was really interesting. So I have, well, numerous questions actually. I was very interested by what you said about research for young adult work requiring more diligence than research for adults. Could you expand on that at all? Why does it need more work?
See, I can explain it only from my example.
Of course.
Basically, there is some kind of a what you call attitude towards writing for young people, young adults. You just take a namby-pamby grandmother kind of voice and you read your story. But that's no longer true. Now what I write is realistic kind of fiction that's pretty long for young adults. And I ensure that I do, after I have the idea in my head, I do research. If needed, going out of my way. I'll just give you one example. I've gone to Arunachal, the beautiful state, and I've come to learn that the Khamti people, they were the biggest elephant trappers in the world. There are two types of elephant trapping. One is called Kheda, the other is called Mela. Kheda is when you trap elephants en masse. Kheda is when you pick out individual elephants from the herd. I thought this would make a gripping story for young adults. So what I did was, I went, there's a village called Chaukham in the Lohit district. I think Mamang would know. And I stayed there for some time. And since it was not the elephant trapping season, what they did was, they were kind enough to have a mock-up on elephant trapping from me. Plus, we learn a bit of language. And then ultimately, that book came out. It was made into a film also. So, I mean, that's the kind of hard work you have to do for young adults.
Wow, that's dedication. And that makes me think of what you were saying, Gabia, before the session started, that you actually learned to dive as research recently. That's the greatest length you've gone to, you said, for research so far. Could you tell us a bit about that?
Yes, just before coming here last week, because my next novel will have certain parts of it set underwater. I decided that even though I'm mortified and scared to death diving, I have to do it. And I did it. I got my diving license last week. But basically I wanted to feel how the water changes your perception of reality, and in order to understand it, I had to feel it. So it was not enough to just imagine it. And one of the clearest things was when taking my diving exam, I had to dive 6 meters deep, and then you have to take mask, and then you have to take it off, and then you have to put it back again, and then you have to clear it. So basically, they train you on worst case scenarios, so you know what to do. But it was going ultimately out of your comfort zone, because being 6 meters underwater and feeling how water slowly sips into your I don't know, it's a very strange thing, but I think exactly through feeling what your character might feel, it really informs your writing, and that's where the details come in, and I think it's a necessary part of the research process.
And Shehan, for your research for your novel, you did a lot of method research, I think, from what you said. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, so I think research is the thing that derails each project, because then you get the idea, that's the easy part, I think, and then you realize, you start writing maybe, and yeah, you realize you don't know enough. And research is work. I mean, it really should be, because now we got the sum of all knowledge at our fingertips, but it still feels like work you don't want to do. With this novel, it was, I was interested to talk about the chicken and the egg, because sometimes it had to, with Chinaman, the egg was already there. I knew, okay, the story about the greatest cricketer of all time having the misfortune to be playing for Sri Lanka in 1985. I thought that was a plausible concept. And then to get a drunkard to narrate, because only drunkards would know these obscure players. So I thought that was there. Whereas the novel I just finished, all I knew was that it was to be about ghosts. And I didn't really have an idea, so I went in with, and that's why it took so long. So it's better when the egg is formed. So sometimes you're researching to find the egg. But with Chinaman, so I knew this was the story. But I also knew that I wasn't a big enough cricket fan. I watched a few games, but I knew there were cricket obsessives out there who would tear this book apart if I didn't make sure all the facts were in place. And I had to convince people that Pradeep Matthew was a real person, which I'm not entirely convinced he's not either. More on that later. But he, so to do that, I had to watch every cricket match played between 82 and 95. Now that's not hard research. So I spent the mornings watching cricket matches, reading about cricket, reading articles, and the afternoons, then I realized I can't talk like myself. I have to talk like an alcoholic 64-year-old. And the only way to do that is to hang out with alcoholic 64-year-olds, and they're easy to find. The bars at 4 o'clock, the dodgier bars, the better, because these guys are on their pension, and at 4 o'clock is the sweet spot. They've done their duties at home, they've maybe placed a bet, and they're coming there for an afternoon people. Between 4 and 6. After 6, if you get there, they're in aggressive moods, and they're starting to argue with you, and you don't get much of anything. But so that was, and yeah, I did that for a couple of months. But what I found was when I sat to write early in the morning, the voice just very naturally, the types of words they've used, the phrases they've used, their mannerisms, everything that came quite naturally. And also the family life, this is more, rather than about the mythical cricket and the mystery, it actually becomes more about the narrator and why he's going on this quest. And so his character, suddenly, I was writing, like I'd wake up in the morning at 4 o'clock and he'd be sitting on my desk, already tanked up on half a bottle of Arak, and he'd be saying, let me tell you how Pradeep Matthew fixed the 88 World Cup, 88 Asia Cup. And I just said, that was a wonder. I mean, it took me a good 6 months to get to that stage.
Almost like taking dictation, isn't it?
Well, when that happens, yeah, rarely happens, unfortunately, but I think research helps you. But then also the cricket stuff, I was just collecting interesting facts, and I thought, okay, I didn't know the first test match was played between the USA and Canada in 1852. I thought, I'm sure a lot of people don't know that. So I put in the facts. And so I think that's what made sure I finished the novel, because before the research becomes work, the research just informed the work. But like I said, in other projects, it's been a case of you're researching a wide topic and you don't really know what the idea is, and that takes time. So you can't wasted our time doing it. So I think it's good to have cut off points. Because I could have hung out with drunks and watched cricket matches for years, but I kind of said, okay, because you don't, like you say, you're not doing non-fiction, you're not doing journalistic work, you're not doing, so I don't need to be an expert. I just need to know enough so I can tell a convincing lie. I can tell a lie with a straight face and someone could believe it. I think that's the kind of research you need. So you need to be confident enough to be able to lie confidently.
I like that, tell a lie with a straight face. I think that's a really good shorthand for what we do as writers, actually, as fiction writers. And that's one thing if you're going to research a topic that's far outside your experience, like elephant trapping or diving or being a drunk 64-year-old. But what if you're writing something that's quite close to your life? Yanis, your novel, you lived through the 90s in Latvia, and it's very close in some ways to your own experience. So how does that present its own challenges with research? How do you flesh out those experiences? How do you differentiate it? What does research do to help you create that world?
Yeah. So basically, I used my memories as a material of the book. Since I really experienced, so my challenge was to make this journey back in time, and this was not so hard as it was, let's say, painful, because we have to admit that it's over. You can stop thinking about things that are over, but when you have to write about it, then you have to feel them again. That was the hard part. And it seemed to me that it's easy to remember that when I was so young, when I was a teenager, all these impressions were so intense. Even if the events were kind of not the big stuff, but everything was so intense that I remember it well, and I remember this time better than what happened 3 years ago, I think. But at one point I understood that my perfect memory has become sort of creative, and when I asked others, they said no, it was not exactly like you wrote, but I was absolutely sure for 15 years that it was exactly like that. And then, but we're lucky that at the time we had almost no videos of our events, so my creative memory is the documentary material now.
Fantastic. Jan, so you researched for so long, 25 years, you almost lived that book as well. Can you tell us, what is it like, and has that become your life almost, that research?
Basically, first I draw my concept, draw my outline, and then I characterize the subject. Then I gone through the place, which is based on my novel. Then I talk to the people, and people like to talk about themselves and about their stories, and I hear the stories and their opinion. I just do my consideration. Then I started my novel with my experience and their experience gathered in the field. And Moriamula, I have written, it's take only 2 years to write me, but it take 25 years to take experience, research experience. I talk with the people of Moriamula, their livelihood, their problems, their dreams, and then came out in my novel. মানে কথাটো বুজিছে কি যে এখন নভেল যেতিয়া আমি লিখোঁ সেই নভেলখনত ৰিচাৰ্চ শব্দটো বৰ কথাবিলাক এনেকুৱা হৈছে যেন বৰ PhD ডিগ্ৰী লোৱাৰ নিচিনা কথা হৈছে, ঠিক তেনেকুৱা নহয়। এখন নভেল লিখিবলৈ যাওঁতে মোক কোৱা হৈছে যে 25 বছৰ লাগিছিল ৰিচাৰ্চ কৰোঁতে। একচুৱেলি ৰিচাৰ্চ মিনছ যিখন ঠাইৰ ওপৰত আমি নভেলখন লিখিম সেই ঠাইখনলৈ যাব লাগে, তাৰ বিভিন্ন মানুহৰ লগত কথা বতৰা পাতিব লাগে, তেওঁলোকে নিজৰ কথাবিলাক মানুহে কৈ ভাল পায়, গাঁৱৰ কথাবিলাক কৈ ভাল পায়, সেইবিলাক এক্সপিৰিয়েঞ্চ গেদাৰ কৰা হয়, সেইবিলাক লৈ পেলাই পিছত সেই এক্সপিৰিয়েঞ্চখিনি নভেলখিনিত দিলে কি হয়, আপোনাৰ নভেলখন এটা জীৱন্ত হয়। আমি এনেকুৱা নভেল অসমীয়া সাহিত্যত বা বঙালী সাহিত্যত বা আউটছাইড ইণ্ডিয়া বহুত আছে, আমাৰ আগতে যিবিলাক আমাৰ মৃত্যুঞ্জয় যেতিয়া বেন প্ৰফেচৰ লিখিছিল মোৰ মনত আছে এটা আৰ্টিকলত লিখিছে যে তেওঁ ৰেল বগৰোৱা কাহিনীটো লিখিবলৈ যাওঁতে তেওঁ মায়ঙলৈ গৈছিল মায়ঙত গৈ চাই সেই ঠাইটুকুৰা চাইছিল ক'ত ৰেলখন বগাই আছিল গতিকে এজন ৰাইটাৰৰ কাৰণে ইটছ এ ভেৰি এছেঞ্চিয়েল টু সেই ঠাইলৈ যোৱা আৰু ফিল্ড এক্সপিৰিয়েঞ্চ গেডাৰ কৰা তাৰপিছত নভেলখন বা ফিকশ্যনটো আৰম্ভ কৰিব লাগে
Thank you. And so the research, obviously a lot of your research, Shehan, was done in advance of writing the novel. Did you continue to research during the writing process, or was that door closed once you started? And if so, I mean, did the research inform the story? Did it change the story? Were there things you discovered that you thought, oh no, I actually can't write what I was planning to write because that happened, or this is true, and therefore I have to change?
You do have this urge to keep researching, and I think you have to kind of curtail that and watch out for it. So, yeah, if I didn't know what the cricket grounds were in the 1950s, as opposed to go, or say, if I was writing about cricket, I remember what popular songs were playing. I could have gone and started Googling things as I go along, but then you end up going down rabbit holes. So I just leave blanks, and I make sure once I finish the research phase, just go through the draft. When you finish the draft, you come back, and so there's a subplot about a match fixer, a match fixer who also fixes political assassinations on the side, as we do, and he. I needed to research that. There wasn't much material on that, but I felt maybe if I knew more about AT&T and their network and the kinds of characters that they dealt with, I might. So you come back and you plug in the bits, but I kind of try and keep the two separate. Just because when you're writing, you should be just making stuff up and putting words on page, and I think this is another distraction. So yeah, it did. The shape of the novel didn't change, but I did find out things. I did find out that one of the cricket ground was used as an aircraft bunker during the Second World War. So therefore, the subplot about they're still recording equipment, and there's a midget underground recording every single test match that's going to take place there. And there are tapes that evolved straight out of research. But then other stuff, you're just trying to back up the things you're making up and give them more color and authenticity. But yeah, I do try and keep the two separate.
And you, Eric, has research ever changed a plot for you? Have you discovered something that has changed the course of what you thought you were going to write?
Almost inevitably. I mean, when you write a longer piece of fiction, the course is never straight. You see, sometimes you come back and then go forward. So definitely researching and writing, I mean, you have the material in front of you that can somehow completely give a different twist to the story. Now, as far as researching for adults is concerned, I think, what we have talked about, you don't need to be absolutely prepared, you don't have to be absolutely truthful. You can use imagination because the adult will be able to make out where you are, converting a piece of reality into something imagination. But for young adults, I think you need to stick to that basics. So whatever your research gives you, I think you should stick to that. And as you know, I'm an outdated kind of writer as far as juvenile literature is concerned. It is because somebody called J.K. Rowling suddenly popped into the literary world. And I discovered that the kind of realistic writing I have been engaged in, I have written 17 adventure novels, all extremely realistic for juveniles. No longer are juveniles interested. They are more interested in, some boy riding a broomstick and playing a game called Felix. And my publishers also lost interest in me. So I think now, as far as any literature is concerned, especially after the advent of what is known as magic realism, I think research has taken a bit of a backseat. And somehow, more imaginative kind of works eliminate the transcript.
I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old at home, and I'm asking this question: isn't it easier to lie to children than it is to adults? So why do you need to research the stuff for children more than the adults?
Actually, what I do is not like for children per se. It is in the, you call it juvenile
Teenagers.
Teenagers.
But
They
aren't
need
they more
somebody
valuable
more
than
to
adults?
write on.
I think to create the imagination scenario, it's a research work is most important at that part also.
And does the need to be factually accurate, or you say believable, I suppose, is that ever limiting? Can it ever be a problem? Have you found this in your work that the need to be, because I think of all the novels here, all the books certainly that I've read by the writers on this stage, yours is the most international in scope. It touches so many different countries. So did you ever find yourself constrained by the need to try and be authentic about these different places?
When I was researching the story of Altanjaya Sharibu, who was a Mongolian model murdered in Malaysia in 2006, I was fascinated by the idea that this event, though so tragic, it sort of encapsulated the society of Malaysia, and sort of everyone was really obsessing about the fact that it was not the crime itself, but the idea that the crime could not be solved. And when I was researching it, what was most interesting is not what actually really happened to the woman, because at the time it felt like we will never find out. But it was more about why people thought it was so important and what kind of feelings it evoked in people. So I think for my part of research, it was more important to understand how this event translates into this national psyche of Malaysia, and why it became, it's so big in Malaysia that I was creating shows and people would be painting portraits of Altanjaya Sharibu, and there were performances, and someone was doing poetry. She really became this symbol of a mystery, but also crime, and it's also the idea that I feel that it needs to be accurate, but not factual. It has to be accurate in a feeling that whoever is reading the book, they understand the symbolism and the meaning behind the symbols. So in that idea, in my book, I work really through the story. Some of the facts are factual and some are just imaginary. But the most important thing was to sort of relay the symbol and the meaning of it. And also, I changed my novel, because when I was writing it, I started writing it in 2011, and I finished it in 2017. So that was quite a big gap of time. And in 2016, the Malaysian prosecutor who was trying to charge the murderers of Altanjaya Sharibu, and was also involved in a corruption case with the Prime Minister, and both of the cases are connected, he disappeared. His car was stopped in the middle of the day, and some men just took him out of his car, and he was found later, 2 weeks later, in an oil drum in a suburban area of Kuala Lumpur. And it really shocked me, and it shocked everyone, because also there was a public statement stating that this man has committed a suicide. and it became probably the saddest joke in the whole of Malaysia, and people were really joking about committing suicides and being cemented in an oil drum. And I think I completely rewrote the end of my story based on this inspiration and the shock. So yeah.
Yanis, we're talking about research as going back into memories, that emotional research. Can you tell us a bit more about that? I know music is quite a big presence in your book. Did you use music to do that research, to take you back?
First, I wanted to comment a little what you said about being accurate or being accurate emotionally and in symbolic level. There's one example came to my mind that in the classic novel by Franz Kafka, America. It starts when Karl Rossmann, the main character, arrives in New York, and Kafka describes that he sees the Statue of Liberty, who's holding the arrow of lightning in her hand. But we know that it's not a lightning, it's a torch. So Kafka was not really good in this research, but he has, in capturing the symbolic meaning of America, he was genius, and so this is a classical novel. Yes, the music. I had to restart listening to this extreme metal music, but I listened a lot at the time, and I somehow overdosed the music, I think, at the time, and it was hard to get back into it. It was like emotionally hard, but I had to do it, and so I became stressed and excited again as a teenager, so I just, it helped a lot for memories, that's for sure.
So you almost had to re-become your teenage self as part of your research?
Yes, and at one point I was not even sure that if I'm really an adult, so this was kind of therapeutic work, I think, this book to finally set an end to this teenage stuff. I'm not sure if I succeeded, but I tried.
Jayanta, your research, you had to talk to a lot of people in controversial, difficult circumstances, people who perhaps sometimes didn't want to speak to you. Are there subjects that we can't research? Are there things it's impossible to research or that we shouldn't research? Did you come up against that in your work?
Actually, when I start my work, when I start do the research, basically I confine with 3 elements: time, place, and character. Place means where my novel is based on, and the basic character of the people and their culture and their dreams, their struggle, everything. It really helps when I talk with the people. Actually, I bring out all the elements and which I need. And actually, my research work and my writings are going side by side. When I feel difficult with my writings, and I go again to my place, I gave my all head ceremony. I took my all the
And Arik, you've researched all kinds of different things to your work, but are there any topics that you wouldn't take on or that you wouldn't feel able to research?
And I don't think so. For instance, my latest novel is on extremely sensitive subject. It's about the insurgency situation in the Northeast. And the protagonist is an insurgent. Now, obviously, these insurgency and the insurgent camps are in Myanmar, and they are beyond the reach. So somehow I had to get some idea, because most of the action takes place in Myanmar. I had to get some idea about what is happening. And I have basically two sources. One was an actual incident, and the other was some kind of writing work. So, I mean, I don't think if one is persistent enough, there is no aspect of life or creation that is beyond access. I think everything is accessible. I think that was the question. Or did you have a different thing?
No, that's really interesting. And I think thinking of it as a UK writer, in the UK at the moment, and in other parts of the English-speaking world, I've seen a big debate about authenticity and who has the right to tell which story. And there are people who have different opinions about whether it's right for someone to, for example, tell a story from the perspective of someone from a very different culture, or a very different linguistic background, or a very different religious experience, and how far it's possible to go. And I wonder whether there are any topics that anyone on this panel would feel uncomfortable or not, would feel they weren't entitled to research and write about.
I think a writer, a true writer, instinctively knows what should not be written. I think an authentic writer would pre-guess what that idiot called Donald Trump would say next and would not venture into this territory. Because, writing one kind of literature would be absolute propaganda. And I think an authentic writer would never venture into propaganda. So if I am to ask what subject is taboo for you, any kind of propagandist intention of any kind, that would be taboo.
Shannon, what about you? Do you feel there are any topics that that research couldn't take you into enough? Are there things that you would feel were beyond your scope, even if you researched them very thoroughly?
Well, okay, I can draw from the last book that I just completed in December, and that I was researching ghosts, and I just wanted to get as far away from cricket as possible. I was sick and tired of talking about cricket, so I thought I'd do something about ghosts. And I kind of naively adopted the approach of the first novel. I watched a lot of horror movies, and I went visiting haunted houses. And now, I have not seen a ghost, and I'm not saying they don't exist, but I think there's people who see them, who feel presences, and there's people who don't. And for 40 years, I haven't seen a ghost, so I'm unlikely to. But I didn't really want to invite that in, because I've watched enough horror movies to know the skeptical researcher goes into the haunted house thinking there's no such thing, and it doesn't end well, especially for the researcher. So I didn't. So I did that. I went on trips with a bunch of friends, road trips visiting haunted houses, watched all. And I wrote several drafts, and the book just wasn't working. It just was. I didn't believe in it, and I thought I can watch The Exorcist another 7 times. It's not going to help me. And I realized the problem was that I didn't know what happens after you die. And I wasn't too harsh on myself, because I realized nobody does. The priests don't know, the scientists don't know. Everyone has beliefs and theories. And I figured, so it's not the actual things. I need to figure out what I believed happened, and what, not necessarily what I believed, but what was believable for the story. And so that research wasn't like, you can talk about going to haunted houses, it sounds really adventurous and all that, but the actual research is pretty, I just went through, what the religions said, what do the Christians and the Muslims believe, what do the Hindus and the Buddhists believe, what do the atheists believe, what do near-death experience, what does science have to say on the subject, and you gather from those sources. But in the end, you've got to make a call, because I'm not going to be right or wrong on this, and I can't be proved right or wrong on this, but I just have to do something that I can defend and that can be plausible. And there was a movie called Lion that came out a few years ago, which was about this, I can't remember the geography, this Indian boy who got on a train and ended up somewhere else and was adopted and trying to find his home. And for a weird reason, that movie shouldn't have worked, because essentially it was a guy doing a Google search for like 1.5 hours. But they somehow made it work. But real research is kind of that. It's not when you go diving and all that, there's all the kind of the method research, hanging out with drums. But I think the real stuff is, sifting through religious texts and figuring out what you believe. And it's not glamorous, it's not particularly interesting to even talk about, but I think it's necessary. So sometimes, so this is an example of researching something that's ultimately unknowable, but at least it gets you closer to taking the position.
So did it change your position at all? You say you still don't believe in this, but did it change your position?
I fear them. I'm not going to mess with any demons or do, because I visited clairvoyants and one of them said, there's a woman standing behind you and she's been standing behind you for some time. But apparently she's quite friendly. She's looking after me. She might be here today. I didn't want to go in arrogantly saying that I know that just because I haven't seen them. And also, I'm writing a ghost story, so it's kind of fun if there were ghosts and figuring out how they work. But ultimately, you take a lot of that stuff. So George Saunders wrote Lincoln in Nevada, and that was what else. The annoying thing when you're researching something and then someone else writes a book about talking ghosts that wins the Booker Prize, and then you're like, but I looked at him and what he had done. It was an amazing achievement. And he doesn't really tell you much. He tells you just enough so you can kind of, because we have these the light, for instance, is there in all the religions. The idea that you go into the light. So I realized that actually, even though I've researched enough, taking out, just giving enough so the reader can add their own beliefs to it. I don't know if it changed my position on it. I still think there's things out there that I haven't seen that I should fear, and that's about as committed I got to that. But at least I made the story work and I was able to finish it.
It's an interesting thing, isn't it? Providing enough information, but enough gaps that the reader can put their own spin on it, put their own imagine for themselves as well. If you tell them everything, there's no space for imagination.
Yeah, you tell them this is what happens after you die, and then it's up to the reader to believe it or not. If you don't believe it, they're not going to get into the book. So just enough so they can take that journey with you.
And what about you, Gabby? Are there any topics that you wouldn't feel able or entitled to research for a story?
When I was writing Cold East, it sort of posed that question because I was writing about society. I was an outsider. I lived in Malaysia for 7 years, but still that didn't really give me any right to write about things I don't know. So I resolved to sort of pose that question through my writing. And in my novel, 3 white men, 1 Lithuanian, 1 British, and 1 Russian set out to do a documentary on a murder of a Mongolian model and Malaysia. And I sort of make fun of them. In a way, that puts me in a position that even though I write about my experiences in living in Malaysia and also what it means to be Eastern European while being in Southeast Asia, but the only people I actually dare to make fun of is my characters who, so basically when I was in Malaysia a few months ago and people posed that question like, is it strange for you to write about and all those jokes about Muslim people? It's really insensitive. And I'm like, no, all jokes are on me. It's my characters who are ignorant, and it's the only thing I talk about is the perception of my characters of the reality we see. It's not. I'm not claiming authenticity to any reality. I'm just observing the relationship of my characters and the reality. So that's the bit about authenticity, and then research and the topics that I would not dare to cross. I think that sort of answers that. For me, the boundary lies in where I can experience things and understand things and feel things, and how authentic was through it. So I would not dare to touch subjects that I don't understand and I don't feel them.
That's a really nice, how far can you go and understand? And of course that will be different for everyone, won't it, in terms of what they're able to understand. What about you, Yanis? Obviously your book was very close to your own experience, but Were there any things in that you struggled with how to enter into that experience, or that you didn't feel maybe quite entitled to, or had to struggle with how to put it on the page?
Well, there was some struggle about this authenticity, because this heavy metal subculture, as all subcultures, it has some very strict rules, much stricter than the mainstream culture. So I was sure that I'm kind of an expert in the field, but I was even more sure that there will be criticism about that from this old aristocracy of Latvian metal scene, and I got it plentiful of that, but it was like inescapable. But okay, to take this attack, I made some jokes about that. Even in the text, I made some anachronisms on purpose with an excuse. Not clearly said like that, but with an excuse that this young teenager who is a character who lives without Google, he can make mistakes. He thinks himself as an expert, but he's not really. So like kind of this manner to escape any some sort of
kind of similar to Gabriel, almost that kind of leaving that gap between.
It's better to say before that I am stupid, don't say that to me, I know it.
Interesting. Well, I think we've got time for some questions, if anyone has questions for our panellists. So, do we have a microphone that can go? Do you want to take this?
As a matter of principle, I'm sorry I'm interrupting. Ma'am, you completely forgot to introduce yourself. Yes, you so beautifully introduced your panelists, but that's the beauty of humility. The moderator, Miss Anne Morgan, is a writer and editor based in UK. Following the success of her project to read a book from every country in 2012, which led to a TED Talk and the non-fiction book Reading the World, Confessions of a Literary Explorer, and continues to blog about international literature. Her debut novel, Beside Myself, has been translated into 9 languages and optioned for TV. Her next novel, Crossing Over, will be published as an Audible exclusive in 2019. A big round of applause for our moderator, please. Now we can go for the questions.
Thank you. For you. So, your embassy, the kind lady told me you are very popular in your country. So, do you think you are very popular? My next question. So, you say about the struggles in mainstream and other stream. Why do you think so, like that? You just say, struggle. You said about the mainstream and other stream. Why do you think so?
The first, okay, the second question first. The struggle between mainstream and what we call it underground. It exists naturally, I think, but for us we wanted to make it deeper. We chose, me and my friends, we chose to be on this other side, to be these outlaws, to reject everything normal. This was our teenage position, rejecting all kind of normality. And what's the cause under that? I don't know, maybe some search of identity, being afraid to be like others, or maybe just not to say that I cannot deal with the cool guys, so I don't want to be with them. There could be several reasons why we choose to be on this other side and why it became so important. So about being popular, I guess I am sort of popular in Latvia, but it came a little too late, because I was dreaming about that when I was like this 14 to 18 years old. But that didn't happen. At that time I wanted to be a rock star, to be a guitar player in a metal band, and that didn't work out. So this book is, I could say, some sort of compensation for this failure. And then suddenly this popularity came, but it's nice, but well, not the right timing, but still good. Yeah, but nothing to be done, so this is my input into the metal scene, and then to this. Okay, I'm not sure if it's an input into metal history or it's more like a story covering the page in general.
So, thank you. May I allow to ask Mr. Jointabra?
Okay, one quick one.
Yeah, okay. That's what I'm asking. Mr. Jointabra, your book is a very big one, Moria. I have not read it, but people say to me, I listen, it's a very good book. And my mistake is that another Jointabra from Dibugan, but I thought he reads it. But people said not that, not Dibugan. Apuni could say that research work is a must. I think research work is a must in every work. It gives a good way. Is not it? So it is quite common. There must be research in any matter. Do you believe?
Yeah, I do agree. Actually, research work is must for every. Actually, গল্প বা নভেলৰ কাৰণে নহয়, every ফিকশনৰ কাৰণে যিকোনো কাৰণে এটা research work very important. I do agree. আৰু যিখিনি young writers আছে, মই নাজানো আজি সেশনটো কিমান fruitful হৈছে, কিন্তু it's actually very খুব এটা ভাল সেশন আছিল এইটো, যে যিকোনো এটা আমি গল্প লিখিবলৈ যাওঁতে বা এখন উপন্যাস লিখিবলৈ যাওঁতে আমি আগতে ভাবিছিলোঁ যে আমি ৰুমত সোমাই ল'ম আৰু ইমাজিন কৰিম আৰু এটা জাষ্ট কাহিনী এটা লৈ পেলাই আমি লিখি যাম। কিন্তু একচুৱেলি আজিকালি সেই গোটেই থিংকিংটো সলনি হৈ গৈছে। আজিকালি কিবা এটা লিখিবলৈ যাওঁতে এটা গল্প লিখা হ'ল ব্ৰহ্মপুত্ৰ লিটাৰী ফেষ্টিভেলৰ ওপৰত। তো ব্ৰহ্মপুত্ৰ লিটাৰী ফেষ্টিভেলৰ ওপৰত গল্পটো লিখিবলৈ যাওঁতে ডেফিনেটলি ইয়ালৈ আহিব লাগিব, ইয়াৰ চিটুৱেশ্যনটো চাব লাগিব, ইয়াৰ বিভিন্ন মানুহৰ লগত অবজাৰ্ভ কৰিব লাগিব, হাউ দে ফিল, কেনেকৈ তেওঁলোকে ইয়াৰে কাম কৰি আছে। তাৰপিছত যিটো ইমাজিনেশ্যন আছিল, যিটো ফিলচফি আছিল, যিটো আইডিয়া আছিল থ্ৰ' কৰিবৰ কাৰণে, সেই তাৰ ভিতৰত সেইটো কপ আপ কৰিব লাগিব, তেতিয়া বস্তুটো ৰিয়েলিষ্টিক হয়। সেইকাৰণে এই যিটো আমাৰ ছেশ্যন ইয়াত আছিলে, এই ছেশ্যনটো একচুৱেলি খুব ইম্পৰ্টেণ্ট ছেশ্যন ফৰ য়ং ৰাইটাৰ্ছ। মই নাজানো এইটো কিমান সফল হৈছে আজি।
Do you feel the necessity of ethics in research? If yes, why is it important in writing? Anyone can answer.
Ethics.
Ethics. The necessity of ethics in research. If yes, why is it important in writing?
No.
He says no.
Ethics. I think that is a really broad subject, so I'll just narrow down on. I think ethics is, as we as writers talking here mentioned, that we all have our boundaries, and we as writers have a certain responsibility, because once you write something, it becomes public, and once it becomes public, you have a responsibility for what you are seeing and how it will be perceived. So definitely there are these lines that are political affiliations and propaganda and things like that that I don't think writers can cross, and I think all of us have our own personal boundaries. But talking about ethics, it's really closely aligned to what you believe in, and how you use your voice and what is your personal morals. It's really, I think what I believe, like ethics of research and ethics of writing and your personal moral boundaries are pretty much the same thing.
যদি এথিক্সটো লাগিবই ন আনএথিকেল কোনো কথাটো আমি নকৰিম এথিক্সটো কি ইউ হেভ সাম ওন এথিক্স মানে নিজৰ কিছু এথিক্স আছে আৰু তুমি যদি ফিল্ড ৱৰ্ক কৰিবা তাৰ লগত তুমি কোপ আপ কৰি পেলাই তুমি এটা বেলেগ ডাইমেনশ্যনত তোমাৰ ৰাইটিংছটো যাব এথিক্সটো
তেখেতে কৈছিলে এটা ছুইচাইড কথা এটা কৈছিলে সেইকাৰণে এথিক্সটো আহিছে নেকি মেবি
It is a wide topic, as you rightly say. So what do you mean specifically? Are you talking about revealing your source or painting someone in a bad light? I guess with fiction, and say if I look at Chinaman as an example, I did collect a lot of cricket stories about cricketers not behaving so well outside of the cricket field. And what I did was, obviously I'm writing fiction, so I changed the names. So I thought I was being quite clever. So we had, in our 96 winning team, there was Roshan Mahanam and Hashan Tilakaratna, right? So I made a character called Hashan Mahanam, thinking I was being very clever. And then my publisher said, well, now you're just pissing two people off rather than just one person. And there were examples of, there was a kind of captain who was a bully. There were cricketers who were found in nightclubs with women who weren't their wives. And there was all that stuff, and I asked before publishing, would this stuff get me sued? And the publisher said, well, it's a hard thing to prove, and another thing, getting sued is great for sales, so especially if a famous cricketer sues you, but also for them to sue you, they have to say that womanizing, bride-taking cricketer was me, and how dare you do that? So I guess the nature of what I was writing meant that I could have fun with it, but I never used the actual name of a cricketer. I only use the actual name if I was saying something nice about it. If I was saying something not nice, then I disguise it however thinly so that people won't get hurt. But I think with fiction you have that luxury where you can kind of cheat a bit.
Good afternoon, panelists. It was wonderful hearing you all out. I'm Tanu Mazumdar and I'm from Marius Public School. I wanted to ask, when your concept is born and you are very excited about it, but suppose we went into research and it did not match with the concept that you had, then would you give it up or would you change the story? Balance between your concept and your research.
Is it possible? But I think what she means is, when the research doesn't match up to what you thought was the story, that happens all the time. And the thing is, but I think it's a positive thing. You actually find out, this is the story, this is the interesting thing that I should be writing about. What I thought and it wasn't the thing. Of course, in rare examples, there might be a case where the research completely negates your story. Those are quite tragic, and then you have to just kind of abandon the project and cry for a few days and move on. But that usually what you find is the things that you find out you can incorporate into the story and makes your story a different story, but a better one, I think. So you shouldn't be worried if the research doesn't. You're not a scientist trying to prove a theory, so you can be flexible.
এখানে এটা ভাল কুৱেশ্যন কৰিছে যে মই এটা কনচেপ্ট ডেভেলপ কৰিলোঁ সেই কনচেপ্টটোৰ কাৰণে মই কিবা এটা ৰিচাৰ্চত ক'ৰবাত যাম সেই ঠাইটুকুৰলৈ যাম তাত দেখিলোঁ যে মোৰ যিটো কনচেপ্ট আৰু সেই য'ত আমি ৰিচাৰ্চত কৰি লৈছোঁ মেটচ কৰা নাই ক'ৰবাত কৰা নাই আমি আগতে এটা ডিছকাশ্যনত এবাৰ এটা কথা কোৱা হৈছিল যে সকলো আমি ৰিচাৰ্চত যেতিয়া এখন ঠাইলৈ যাওঁ বা কিবা এটা ৰিচাৰ্চ কৰিবলৈ যাওঁ সকলো বস্তু আমি পিক আপ কৰিম নেকি ডেফিনেটলি জুৰি যিটো কুৱেশ্যন কৰিছে যে এথিক্সৰ কথাটো কথা হ'ল কি যে অল দ্য ৰাইটাৰ্ছ হেভ হিজ অ'ন এথিক্স তেওঁ এটা এথিক্স লৈ পেলাই তেওঁ সেই ঠাইটোলৈ যাব ডেফিনেটলি তেওঁ যিবিলাক তেওঁৰ গ্ৰহণযোগ্য নহয় ছ'চাইটিৰ যিটো গ্ৰহণযোগ্য নহয় তেওঁ সেইটো কেতিয়াও গ্ৰহণ নকৰে তেওঁ সেইটো নলয় দেন সেই বস্তুটো তেনেকৈ মেটচ হ'ব যিটো আনহেল্ডি ফৰ ছ'চাইটি তো সেইটো তেওঁ কেতিয়াও কোপ আপ নকৰিব তেওঁ এইখিনি তেওঁৰ এথিক্সে যিখিনি বিচাৰিছে তেওঁ যিটো ডাইমেনশ্যন লৈ পেলাই তেওঁ ফিকশ্যনটো লিখিবলৈ গৈছে সেইখিনি তেওঁ গেডাৰ কৰিব কেটচ কৰিব তেনেকৈ তেওঁ সেই থাকিব লাগিব কিন্তু ফিল্ড ৱৰ্ক ইজ মাষ্ট তেনেকৈ বস্তুটো বেলেঞ্চ কৰিব
I would like maybe God that this happens and this is painful, but you know that breaking your belief or your dream it is itself a very poetic matter, so it's worth another story.
I think we are speaking about the long fiction for research, but essentially for short fiction, we can do without research. Absolutely, is what I think. Anybody wants to say anything on that? I think. Ma'am? Yeah, I mean, see, there are a lot of us who write fiction without doing any research. We go in for what we call emotional experience and a retentive memory, photographic memory. And too much of dependence on research loses the cadence, the euphony that is required for, in fact, beautiful prose. Imagination is curtailed. And I think although research is essential, but for short fiction, when it's a 2-page article or even Hemingway's one-liner, you don't need research for that. I mean, that's my hold on it, you know. I mean, I don't know.
Well, I think you are absolutely right and you are absolutely wrong. He's written a beautiful short story called Love. That's about a pigeon coming in front of his window. Now you don't need to do a very lot of research or writing about the behavior of pigeons. But then there are certain short stories which will need research. You know, I have said earlier that each format needs its own parameters of research. And certain short stories, basically imaginative short stories, they definitely, as I said, they definitely can be done without any research. But other short stories, perhaps historical based short stories, or stories related to specific incidents, or instead a communal life. So you simply don't give a biased version of it and make a story out of it. You do some research on that before writing a short story. So you are both right as well as wrong.
Hello, Tanay. How do you keep the, like you have talked about the sensitivity and keeping limits on the feeling. So when you are dealing with a piece of writing, like you need to limit yourself from going too deep into the realism. And how do you cope up with your feelings? Like do you sometimes feel sympathetic for the person, and do you just don't write about it when you feel more attached to that person? And do you skip writing about him just because you are getting attached to the person, that somebody like you know so much deep about him that you need to avoid something which will come to conflict like after writing the book? Do you skip those things when you get feelings, or like when you've done a deep research on him or a person?
Yeah, it sure is when it becomes too personal. It sure is hard and painful to write, but that's a sign that it could work. If you have no emotions while writing, then probably there will be no emotions while reading. So this is what. Okay, maybe there are good masters who can do that, but in my experience, that these are the that what you write is paint is like it works. Yeah. What is personal, what makes you naked, what opens you up too much, this works.
Actually, I have written a poem last few days that it was based on refugees. So the present situation in our place is not like we can openly speak about refugees and all. So if we take about political situations like when people are involved, so how do you cope up with that? Like, do you need to really go into that feeling, or do you just avoid it just because our place is not currently not capable of tolerance of that topic? Sorry? Poems, but in a fictional way, like it's like real, not dealing with non-fiction. Like if I see a person, I know about him, then I write about him.
If you want to get views, go ahead. And if you don't want to see, then stop. It's never right. No, I myself hate quite a lot of people. And I never write about that. I mean, you have thought about ethics among writers, and that's the problem of ethics. Just because you know something, you are going to write about it.
Right, I'm afraid I know there are lots more questions, but we are going to have to stop there because Cher has to get to the airport. So I would just ask you to thank the panel. No, I'm sorry, we don't have to. Yeah, you could ask.
Thank you so much for such a wonderful experience you gave us. Indeed, writing is a task, and with each day, or in all these 3 days, we are learning how to write, what to write, and how to think how to write. And with this, I just close this session with a heavy heart again, because the day is just coming to an end. And with that, I close this session and thank each of you for your time and for your presence here. Thank you so much.
Take